Okay, so here's something a little different for me. I have in my hands the brand new GoPro Hero 7 Black. This is the top of the line GoPro Hero 7. It comes in 2 other lower versions than this, but this is the top of the line. I have never ever been a big fan of GoPros. I think that you could take video with your cell phone that was as good as these. I've never really liked GoPro as a company either. There's just something that I could never really put my finger on.
Woo! Karma! Oh!
But when I saw the initial reviews for this particular GoPro, I had to get my hands on one. The image stabilization on this thing looked so good. Looked too good to be true, to be honest, and I wanted to check it out. So there's 3 things that this review is going to cover. That is a big smudge on my lens. Stabilization, the new Hyper Smooth Stabilization. Just that name Hyper Smooth Stabilization, I don't like it already, but I'm gonna give it a chance. Audio quality, that's 2. Audio quality, because audio quality on older GoPros sounded like you were talking through a paper towel tube into a bucket of water. It was awful. And then low light performance, which I'm not expecting a ton of low light performance out of this thing just because of the size of the sensor, but some cell phones give excellent low light performance now, even in video, and it's the same size sensor as a smartphone. So yeah, let's cut to some footage here. I shot most of this in 2.7K instead of 4K, and it'll be down res to 1080 for the video, just for editing purposes. But I found that 2.7K gave me the best image. Okay, so I'm just doing a low light test and an audio test kind of all at the same time here. I'm in my car and turn the light off. I think that there's some natural light out here. You know what? This is actually probably not a realistic low light test. It's too dark. But I'm headed downtown to also do some low light testing with this, the Fujifilm X-F10. So there's another review video for that, and I'm using the GoPro Hero 7 to film some stuff, and yeah, let's head downtown. 2 birds with 1 stone kind of trip here. Okay, so it's nighttime. It's actually pretty windy, so I'm interested to hear what the sound quality is like. It's pretty busy out, lots of cars driving by. Let me know what you think. What does the audio sound like? I know on previous GoPros that I've used, it's been pretty bad, so I'm really curious to see how this one performs. And so far from what I'm seeing on the screen, it looks great, but the screen's pretty small, so hopefully it's good. All right, so as you guys can see, the stabilization on this thing, it's insanely good. And I was very skeptical that electronic stabilization on that magnitude can look as good as this did, but it looked great. It looked smooth, it looked clean, the colors look good. There's no rolling shutter to speak of. Sometimes when you're dealing with electronic stabilization, you can see the frame sort of get a little wavy as the sensor tries to keep up with the image plus the stabilization, but this thing just it just powered through and gave buttery smooth footage. Now in the past, if you wanted footage like that with sort of this type of an image, you would need something like this smartphone gimbal. This is a Zhiyun Smooth Q, pretty decent budget smartphone gimbal. But imagine having to bring this somewhere when you can just bring this. Like, think about that just for packing purposes. It's, I mean, I would throw this over my shoulder, but it wasn't free. The stabilization is everything that you would expect it to be given the hype around this thing. Sound quality is very, very good, and I really only tested the sound quality in my low light footage test, so the low light footage is not good. It's kind of what I expected. I'm a little disappointed in it, but it's not anything earth-shattering that this thing doesn't do well in low light. And even with the image stabilization makes it even worse in low light, because then you start to notice sort of a wobble between the image and the stabilization as it also tries to keep up the ISO. 2 out of 3, that ain't bad. And I don't know how much people are shooting with GoPros at night, but I'm certainly not going to be. Now, this thing is $500 and something Canadian. I'll put down here the prices US and Canadian, and it's very, very well built. If you've ever had a GoPro before, you know that. The screen on the back is nice and big. The user interface is fantastic. I think I'm going to keep this thing, and when I bought it, it was just pretty much to review, and I was going to take it back, but I just ordered a couple of batteries for it, and I love it. I love this thing. This has blown my mind. In the past, I have always gone with like no-name action cams like this thing here, and I always found that they were able to compete with a GoPro. Back when they all shot 1080, there was really not a lot of difference image-wise between an imitation GoPro and the real thing. I can't say that anymore. The stabilization is a game changer. You can throw your gimbal in the garbage. This thing is that good. GoPro Hero 7 Black. This thing is legit, and I'm keeping it. I can't believe I'm saying that. I've never ever owned a real GoPro. I've used tons of them, but I've never wanted to keep one until now. And don't worry about the big fisheye look of GoPros. They've actually got a couple modes in here, and in the last, I think since the Hero 5, they've had a linear mode that'll give you a nice rectilinear picture that's not a big fisheye, blown out, weirdo shot. This thing also does take stills, but nobody wants to see GoPro still pictures, quite frankly. That's it. Thanks for coming by, and we'll see you in the next video. I don't know what I'm going to test next. What do you guys think I should test next? I really want to get my hands on that GFX 50R, that medium format rangefinder style camera from Fujifilm. I'm probably going to reach out to them and see if they've got one kicking around with that new sort of pancake-ish looking lens. That's a really, really interesting combo for street photography purposes. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want to find out when I'm putting out these incredibly informative videos, and I'll see you in the next one.